Ciao ragazzi, sono la prof. Adesso studiamo I verbi riflessivi e I verbi reciproci. So we're going to focus on the reflexive verbs and the reciprocal verbs. I'm going to save the reciprocal for last because once you know the reflexive, reciprocals are a piece of cake. Reciprocals pretty much mean something, each other. So we help each other, we call each other, and I will explain that really quickly at the end. Once you have this concept, this is a snap. So riflessivi, reflexive verbs, are verbs in which verbs that help you focus on the fact that the action goes back to the subject. In English, you don't feel that need so much, but in Italian, we use them a lot. So I'll also make another quick tutorial that will give you a list of verbs that are reflexive because they don't always match English. So you want to be sure that you know them. So for example, I seat myself. I wash myself. In Italian, you have a need almost to have to specify that. So how does all of that happen? So you will have your verb, for example, lavare. Lavo, lavi, lava, laviamo, lavate, lavano. So how about I wash myself? You need to use these pronouns, first, second, third singular, first, second, third plural, and they go back to the subject. So let's say it's io mi lavo, tu ti lavi. So you take this and you put it right here. There you go. So this me, it's myself, yourself, her or himself. Va bene? This is basically your mirror. It reflects the action back. So that verb, however, won't be lavare anymore. It's now lavarsi. Your infinitive reflects the fact that it's a reflexive. And here you have it. This is your indication that you have a reflexive. So, but you will still have to match it to the subject. So it's not always si. This is telling you, okay, you'll have a pronoun to deal with. Okay, and then you conjugate the verb as normal, as per what it is. So are, ere, ire verbs. This is an are verb. Lavo, lavi, lava, laviamo, lavate, lavano. But you want to make sure that you put the right pronouns in front. Quickly, let's remember where we put pronouns. Pronouns go in front of verbs, whichever tense they are in, it doesn't matter. Unless you have an infinitive. If you have a sentence that has an infinitive, quindi lui vuole lavarsi, for example, you will put the pronoun at the end attached to the infinitive which drops the last E. So to turn any, but you can't just come up and turn any verb into a reflexive. They pretty much, there's a set list. So I will give you a standard, I will give you a list of reflexives. One quick thing about the reflexive verbs that's a bit special is that at the past tense, they are house verbs. In the past tense, they are house verbs. So it means that the helping verb to create a past will be essere. And because it is a house verb, you will also need to agree your past participle. Okay? The past participle agrees with the subject. Okay. There's one funky little thing for these three verbs, these are the three that I'm teaching you, where they are both reflexive, but they also take an object. For example, I can brush my own teeth. So I brush, or I wash, let's use wash, my teeth. Although spazzolarsi, I should add that. I will. Okay, to brush for teeth. So, io mi spazzolo I denti, io mi sono spazzolata I denti, io me li sono spazzolati. So, if you also have a direct object pronoun in the sentence, then the agreement will actually be with the object. When there is an object, that's the preference and not the subject. And basically, this hardly ever happens. It happens with these 4 verbs. So once you reach Italian 4 and 5, I will also want you to learn this, that although reflexives always go back to the subject, there are some reflexive verbs that also take an object, and in that case, if you have a direct object pronoun, then your past participle, when you're dealing in the past, will agree with the object. Per esempio, io mi sono lavata I denti. I'm a girl. Okay? Io mi sono lavata I denti. And if I use the pronoun, io me li sono lavati. Because now you have this little two words right there that determine that this is actually going to agree with this. If you don't have the pronoun, then this matches the subject. I know, it seems complicated, but you can do it. So this is my main list of reflexive verbs. They don't necessarily make sense in English all the time, so it's good to learn them like this. Remember, in the past tense, they are house verbs, which means they take essere as a helping verb, and they have to agree with the subject unless there's an object pronoun. In that case, they agree with the object pronoun. Svegliarsi, to wake up. Alzarsi, to get up, which could be to get up from bed, but also to get up in general. To wake up and to get up are different. Lavarsi, to wash oneself. Spazzolarsi, to brush one's hair, one's teeth. These take an object. They don't always. Vestirsi, to dress oneself. Prepararsi, to get ready. Mettersi, to put on for clothes. Okay, because I can just put something on the desk and that will just not be reflexive because it takes an object. If the action goes back to the subject, then you have a reflexive verb. Divertirsi, to have fun. Lots of emotions are reflexive. It's like you are in control of your own emotions. You make yourself feel happy. You make yourself feel sad. I'm not sure if that's really how the language was intended, but you will notice that many emotions are reflexive. So sentirsi, to feel contento, bene, male, stanco. Divertirsi is have fun. First, emotions. Another one is annoiarsi, which does not mean that you annoy yourself, but it means that you are bored. Fermarsi, to stop oneself. So I stop in front of the mirror. I do that to myself. Addormentarsi, to fall asleep. Arrabbiarsi, to get mad. Lamentarsi, to complain. Laurearsi, to graduate from college. Diplomarsi, graduate from high school. Specializzarsi in, to specialize in. You do all these things. If you graduate from college, you did it. So it is reflexive. Sbagliarsi, to make a mistake. Pettinarsi, to comb. So you can comb your hair. In Italian, you don't have to say, I comb myself my hair. You can just say, io mi pettino I capelli. It is obvious that the hair is yours because you're using a reflexive verb. So it could be redundant to do that. Then you have rilassarsi, to relax. Riposarsi, to rest. Innamorarsi, to fall in love. I skipped this one because this is reciprocal. Innamorarsi, to fall in love. This is both reciprocal and reflexive. So I fall in love, I have that emotion with someone, innamorarsi di, but we fall in love with each other, plus the preposition di. Okay. Chiamarsi is reflexive, like I call myself, which is a bit weird, but it's just no one really listens to the meaning, literal meaning of that. So innamorarsi, I have that already. Sposarsi. Sposarsi also can go both ways. So it's reciprocal. Obviously, we marry each other, and strangely enough, it's also reflexive. So io mi sposo, I get married. I don't marry myself, but for some reason, it's still used in a reflexive way. First, second, and third person singular. Prepararsi is to get ready. Truccarsi is to put makeup on. So reciprocal verbs, they are exactly the same in the sense that they have the same pronouns. However, the pronouns are only the plural one, ci, vi, si, and they mean each other. Okay, and I will give you a list of verbs that usually take each other and will be, per esempio, noi ci telefoniamo, voi vi scrivete una lettera, loro si parlano. So I'm going to give you the list right now. This is a list of possible reciprocal verbs, which means you're going to use them first, second, or third plural, so we, you, they, and the reflexive pronoun will now mean each other. So to hug each other, abbracciarsi, aiutarsi, to help each other. These are quite logical. Baciarsi, to kiss each other. Capirsi, to understand each other. Conoscersi, to know each other. Farsi regali, to give each other gifts. Guardarsi, to look at each other. Incontrarsi, to meet each other. Innamorarsi, to fall in love. This one, however, it's also reflexive. You can use it first, second, third person, and you fall in love. It's your own emotion, it's your own feeling, so you kind of create it inside yourself. So this one can be used as both. Salutarsi, to greet each other. Scriversi, to write to each other. Telefonarsi, to talk to each other on the phone. To call each other on the phone. Vedersi, to see each other. Sposarsi, this too is both reciprocal, which is very obvious, you marry each other, but it can also be, strangely enough, used also first, second, and third singular. So let's say this morning I get married, io mi sposo, although you don't marry yourself. I don't know where that came from. And that is my main list of reciprocal verbs.